Hi, welcome back to the Jack and Glenn channel. I'm Jackie.
And I'm my husband, Glenn.
He's my husband.
Hey, before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification. If you're new to this channel, today we're reviewing Married at First Sight, Season 18, Episode number 6. Episode number six. Never forget about Carla. Wow. We're going to get to that a little bit later. Once again, if you're new, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification. Jackie, where would you like to start?
Well, remember, this was a holiday. I didn't do like my usual.
Okay.
So we just got to run through it from top to bottom.
Let's run through it from top to bottom. At the beginning, we see that David and Juan hung out with each other, right? David and Juan hung out with each other, and they had a good, relaxing time. They went to the sauna. They worked out. They did a walk.
Juan said, my man needs some relaxation. He's stressed.
He's stressed. My man is stressed. So, I mean, Juan's a good friend. Looked out for David, got David relaxed and rejuvenated and revived, and David is ready to go back on and hang out with Melissa and keep this marriage thing.
Michelle,
sorry. Michelle, sorry. Who's Michelle?
Melissa?
Who's Melissa? Sorry. Michelle, and get this thing popping. But him and Juan had a great time, and that was good to see. You know, he picked his boy up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, which is kind of cool because I'm like, you have time on your honeymoon, which we'll get to a little bit later. You had time on your honeymoon that you didn't just spend time with your own spouse or your newly spouse, but you was able to go pick your boy up, and the men was able to hang out together for a moment and have a man moment, which is I thought was good, man. That's what good friends are.
Yeah. So after that, we see Ikechi and MM chatting, and they have a conversation about intimacy and how she appreciates, his caring and paying attention to her. And they talked about, he just wants her to be better, and what they talk about what brings each other joy. And she said, the progression that she's had in her business, she's extremely proud of herself. And okay, so what's brought you joy? And for him, he said, getting to see my brother and his little girl and that interaction and be around family. And then they had a conversation that, oh, well, by the way, do you want to have kids? I do. And MM was like, no, I don't. But it was a joke. But Ikechi said he had a partner that he was dating. Like he said, I literally broke it off because they didn't want to have kids, and I did.
Right.
And so they were on the same page when it comes to that. So that's not an issue.
I was happy that I was able to communicate like that, right? We always talk about Ikechi's trying to have some serious conversations, right? Some deep conversation. I think the conversation about the kid situation was good because she is a nurse practitioner. She is a business owner. He is kind of an entrepreneur, and his family said he's out there. So, your lifestyle is going to have to change just a little bit when you have kids, right? Hopefully, she has put herself in a great situation that when they do have kids, that she can stay home a little while and take care of what she need to take care of.
And let me be a little bit clear. What she said was, let me quote her. She said, "I'm open to having kids." So it wasn't really a yes or no. She said, I'm open. It wasn't like she was like, yes, I have to have kids. I want to have kids.
But I think that a lot of that had to do with the time frame.
Yeah.
Like when they were going to kids and how many years, how many months, well, I ain't say months, how many years will it take before we have kids? So I think it was a money issue.
And then once again, the same way Ikechi's been writing letters to his wife. And so he said, I had dreams about my daughter. So
that is a little too much, right? He's doing, I had dreams about my daughter. Was it with her though? Right? That's the question. You had dreams about your daughter. Did you have dreams about? Was it with your wife that you wrote the book with?
He said his daughter, yeah.
And is that the one? And that's the one that is that the one who wrote the book? Anyway, that's a whole different conversation. That's a whole different story. So we'll see.
And so they just talked about that they're still getting to know each other. They know they may have obstacles that pop up, but it's how they deal with it, and they'll cross that bridge when they get to it. We see Thomas and Camille getting ready to go for our dancing class, a salsa lesson. He's nervous.
Look.
And he should have been, because them feet, two left feet.
Look.
He didn't do too bad, but it looked like it took him a minute to get it together.
Might post that video on our own membership video. If you remember the Jack of us doing salsa dances on a cruise. I still have that video. So if y'all want to see that video, let me know in the comment. Y'all want to see the video of Jack and Glenn doing salsa classes. I got two left feet. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but she says, she kind of gets the feel that he might like be a goofball. Like, yeah. and Camille calls his dancing unique, and at least he tried.
He got better when they did the whole, like, towards the end, when they do the one-on-one thing. He got better.
He did. I was nervous. He had shoes on, she didn't. I was like, she finna get her
all white toes about to get stepped on.
Stepped all on. So then we go to Michelle and David. You know, she talks about the fact that she's been struggling. Her husband is not the husband that she pictured, and she just made up in her mind that she just decided to keep it casual and just enjoy the time together. And so they have a conversation. Oh, she goes back to this, don't over talk me, don't talk at me or whatever.
Like, don't do too much today. I'm trying to have fun.
Don't do too much today. And he said, go ahead.
No, just like, don't do too much today. I'm having fun, right? I'm trying to have fun with you. I'm trying to let my walls down, and you need to let me let them down. Don't you try to bring them down. In so many words. So it's like, yo, let me do my thing.
Yeah, he said in that, being that she's in a space where she's kind of like not comfortable trying to relate to him. She said he realizes that marriage is a compromise. And so, you know, some things he'll have to, you know, pull back on himself to kind of make her feel comfortable. They talk about they're slowly getting to know each other. She's taking little steps. Again, let's try to have fun. And, you know, she's in her head so much she feels like she's on autopilot. So she's trying to get out of that space. But we see them go paddleboard, and it looks like they had a good time. She kind of picked with him because she was standing up. He was going to try to stand up. Let's see if I can do it. And she just like really laughed at
she laughed at him at her expense. But that's what she needed to let some of her walls come down. She needed to be able to relax, right? And she was able to relax, and she was able to at least have some kind of laughter, right? We saw some kind of joy. Your whole honeymoon can't be miserable, right? You can't have a miserable honeymoon, and that's what I think she was having up to this point, because she couldn't let go, and she still hasn't let go of the fact that he lives with his parents, and so that's something that he has to deal with, and so she has to deal with. So we then we moved on. We saw after that, let's see, David and Michelle they kept what did I do after that? David and Michelle talked about the grandparents. He talked about grandparents, right?
Yeah, later on, like I said, I was going play by play, but later on they do have that conversation when they go to eat sushi and make sushi. And, you know, he said he's trying to fit into her world. This is not usually something he would do, but this is something she's interested in. And since they're trying to get along and just have fun together, you know, he's going to go and do that. He can't use the chopsticks. No. That was an issue for him. And she saw him as someone who just doesn't get out of their comfort zone too much. And so that he's a meat and potatoes guy. So it did resonate with her, the fact that he did the sushi, because it didn't seem like something he would normally do, but he's doing it because she was interested. But
that's the thing, though. He's trying stuff with her. He's really, if people may not like David, I'm on a David bandwagon right now. He's trying everything. He's doing what's right. He's saying what's right. He wants to make this honeymoon more memorable. He wants this honeymoon to be relaxing. He wants this marriage to work. And here in this scene, we actually see her trying to make it work, and they did something together, which I was happy. It was the sushi thing. So, hey, he likes sushi. I mean, he ate it. It don't mean he liked it. Right. He didn't like it. He ate it.
Well, yeah, he's a sushi eater like me. Like, I eat sushi, but I'm not really doing no raw stuff. So he was like
California roll type guy.
He was like, nah, I don't want to do no. But yeah, so that there they had a conversation about grandparents, and he said and how it came up. He says grandma's always getting him to try new stuff,
right,
and wanting him to try new stuff, and so he's like, you know, how are your grandparents? Are your grandparents alive? And she shares her grandparents aren't alive. His grandparents are, I think maybe he was missing one grandparent, but none of hers are alive. But she shared a story, which I'm glad she's opening up some. And I don't know why when he asked this question before about family, she's like, why? You know, because he's just trying to get to, I'm glad she didn't take that route this time, that she was opened up.
Because she wasn't in her feelings at the time. She wasn't in a moment. And he doesn't understand timing. His issue is timing. His moment is timing. Read the room, right? He hasn't been able to read the room with her yet because of the emotion. And sometimes his questions are, I don't want to say, his timing is off, which causes her to go, Urgh.
Yeah. And so, but she shared how the grandparent lived next door. And then eventually when the grandmother, I think it was, passed away, that her dad moved next door, which I said, oh, okay. So your parents weren't together, but then he lived next door. That's what it sounded like to me.
Yeah.
So they were still close. But anyway.
In a small town, man.
Yeah. She talked about the fact that, she liked her small town, but not enough that she wanted to stay there. So that's how she ended up in Chicago. So let's go back a little bit.
Yeah.
Unless you want to continue with them. I'm trying to think what else.
No.
All right. So let's go back in order again. So Juan and Carla, they go have dinner on the beach. They share a little dance there. Yeah. He talks about how he spent time with David, and she spent some time to herself, and how she needs to unwind. And he was like, I took David out. My brother was frustrated. He needed to release some tension, and I enjoyed myself so much chilling with him. I forgot you were there.
I forgot you was here. Why did he say that, bro? That's rule number one. You're on your honeymoon. Remember I said it. You're on your honeymoon, right? You can't tell the woman that you're on your honeymoon with that you forgot about her. You can't, and she gonna feel. I don't care what woman it is. It could be Michelle Obama, who says she always takes the high road. Let's President Barack say he forgot about her. It's gonna be trouble, right? It's gonna be problems. And you can't say that on your honeymoon, on vacation. Oh, I forgot about you, because it's supposed to be just you and her. It's supposed to be about your timing, and that set her off. And she was furious. She didn't show it there, but she was hot. As they say, we say all the time, she was warm about that thing. Mm-hmm. She was warm about that thing. So she was warm, and she wanted to get some get back. She wanted to get some get back, and we see Carla get a little bit get back on Juan a little bit later. So we move on to
but while we're right there, might as well roll with it. And so she had planned. She's mad. You forgot about your wife. How you forget about your wife? Mm-hmm. And so they had planned some underwater pictures or water pictures, or some not just underwater, but some pictures in the water, whatever she had set up. And so she went to breakfast and got some breakfast, and he was supposed to get his stuff together.
She took the bag.
He was supposed to get his stuff together for these pictures. And because she was feeling a little bit petty.
Oh, not feeling a little petty. She was petty.
I'm being sarcastic. And since he forgot about his wife, she conveniently forgot to tell him that he needed a bag. And don't forget your bag. Or even to grab his, get a bag. So he had to just have his stuff in his hands. And then he stopped by what happened is he stopped by the front desk to get a bag, and they said they had a bag, but when they went back there, they didn't have a bag. They had to go get him a trash bag from like housekeeping. So he's walking with this bag. She was like, a lesson. Don't forget about Carla. Don't forget about your wife.
You're gonna learn today. You're gonna learn today, which is crazy, because and eventually he goes on. They do the photo shoot, and you can see how petty she is. And she started
petty, but like she's still
standoffish
in her feelings.
Standoffish. She finally opens up, right? They start to finally have a good moment. The photos start to look somewhat better. Well, they look terrible at first. There was no emotion, and like the photographers and people were wasting their time. She really wasn't into his movement because she was mad.
But speaking of reading the room again, since Juan said, I could tell my wife is still mad at me.
Right.
But I'm trying to make the best of it. And what he really could have did is when she was supposed to get up under the water and hold her breath a certain kind of way and take the picture, but she really couldn't get it at first. And in that space, he could have been petty and be like, I'm not going to help you. But he helped her through it. He talked her through it. And that also softened her up some, because she was like, I know that he knows I wasn't happy with him, but even with that, he still helped me. So that made her feel a little bit better. But again, she's still like, don't forget about it.
And then when they got back to the room, they had that discussion. He was like, I don't want you really passive aggressive. Mm-hmm. Your behavior was passive aggressive. The way that you did things were passive aggressive. At least just communicate with me. Tell me you mad. Right. Tell me why you mad. Don't be passive aggressive all day and kind of ruin our day. Because she could have ruined the whole day for them. Because if he was that type of person, okay, you mad, I'm mad too. If you gonna be petty, I'm gonna be petty too. Mm-hmm. But that's not who he was. He showed maturity in that. He showed the maturity in that realm, in that scene, or in that time frame, to show that he's more mature than she is when it comes to relationships and how to express and your feelings in relationship. And he finally got her. He won her over when they was in the bedroom talking. He won her over to see where he was coming from.
Mm-hmm. And in that space, they also talked about living together. He said, he's not worried about it. He's going in with no expectations. Want to see how they live and eat and how they clean. And he said he's gonna have to she said he's gonna have to disappear when she uses the bathroom. Basically, like if I'm not doing the poop thing around you type of thing. And then she talks about after work how she needs 30 minutes to decompress. Like, don't say anything to me. I got to get myself together. And he was like, so you're just gonna ignore me?
Send the car.
But again, you're gonna ignore me, so you're gonna forget about Juan, but it wasn't okay for me to forget about Carla.
Right. But when they did compromise, she's like, well, at least I can come in the house and say hi.
Yeah, because he says it's gonna be hard for him if she doesn't talk to him.
You gotta realize too, bringing the context, Juan works from home. So he's at home all day. And when he comes from home, he's gonna be home when she gets home. Mm-hmm. So it's not like he's coming in the house, he's gonna be there when she gets there. So it's like, hey, at least greet me. I know you need 30 minutes, right? Go upstairs, go to the bathroom, go to the bedroom, go change your clothes, whatever case may be. Get your 30 minutes, but don't be rude. Mm-hmm. I think we saw that what was that, a couple seasons ago where the spouse wanted to come home and give me a hug, greet me with a hug and kiss. So we'll see. Mm-hmm.
So let's see. So let's go back. Then because most of the rest of it after that was when the couples got together to leave the honeymoon. So before they leave, Thomas and Camille, we see them ready to head out, and he's checking with her. Do I look okay? Does this match? How's that looking? And do you want to pick out my clothes? And she was like, no, like I let him do his thing or whatever. And he was like, should I pull out the special plaid underwear? These are special underwear. I thought it was funny. But they said they're having a lot of good moments and having good talks. She said they're trying. She said I'm trying to figure out the physical vibe because I'm used to city guys more so, and he's pretty suburban.
Let's be honest. She says city guys, but I'm used to more of the hood type guys. The guys, the inner city dudes, the guys that don't talk like he talks, the guys that don't walk like he walks, the guys who probably don't discuss the things that he discussed. Mm-hmm. He's from a different persuasion. I mean, he's you know what I'm saying? He grew up around the persuasion, so she's not used to that. And I'm just being honest, she's not used to that swag that he has. And he just has a swag about him, but it's not the one that she's used to or accustomed to.
Right. And so later on, we see them talking, and what he says with, when she shared that's not something he's never heard before, but it kind of struck him because he's starting to kind of like her. Mm-hmm. And it just kind of hit him. And so he felt a little type of way. He's gotten picked on for not being black enough, and his dad kind of coaxed him through that. And he came out it with like a sense of empathy or whatever. But she's like, I'm into wanting to learn what qualities there are while we got matched. Basically she's like, I'm not minimizing it because he's not what I usually go for. I'm trying to figure out why we got matched, and she's ready to go with it. Like she's not acting like Michelle.
Yeah,
about it at all.
No, I think they have a good chemistry, and I think they even talked about a little bit later on. She's talking about, I brought my lingerie, but we haven't seen it yet, so she's waiting those moments. So she just want to feel more comfortable with him in that sense.
And so we go from Thomas and Camille to Madison and Alan.
Yeah.
They go do an activity out in the rainforest, woods, the Mayan jungle, whatever you want to call it. And what we get to see from Alan is when I'm in a space, like I want to be in the things that are of that area. And so they went to meet with a spirit guide, with two spirit guides. They had like a little ceremony, a ritual with some incense and vibes and stuff like that. And so they were cleansing their bodies.
Yes.
And she realizes like maybe he's a more physical touch type of person than I am, because they have a point where they're sitting next to each other, kind of like their knees touching,
some leaves.
but then they have to touch each other's hearts. And
his hands were on her breast, because they talked about it a little bit later.
Yeah,
like he put his hand on my breast. I guess that's okay, because he was trying to reach my heart, but she didn't feel icky about it. But she just understood the moment, right? She understood the moment they were in.
And the spirit guy just kind of broke it down to him. You think too much, get out your head.
Yeah.
One thing I saw, I think it was on an after party, they did some kind of thing with, they had to inhale something in their nose.
Yeah.
Well, it might have been, well, it was just funny, because Alan was talking about, it was some things that didn't get shown.
They did a lot of
spiritual.
They did a lot of spiritual stuff.
Yeah, that had happened
based off of what they did with Mexico. They got, like, I think there was oil dropped on their head.
Yeah, they poured water on each other's head or something.
Yeah, and so they did a whole bunch of spiritual, get out the bad mojo, voodoo, and
yeah, the spirit guy was like, one part she told him like, be quiet, just let it soak in. Yeah, so she kind of broke some things down to about Alan, and then they talked to Madison about how she does, like she likes to keep some stuff more on the inside. You're not so strong on the inside like you're on the outside, like you portray. Just really giving them some things to think about. And also, while the spirit guide is talking to them, it's something for them to hear about each other, and kind of how to relate to them. The other thing with Madison and Alan, let's see, we really didn't get back to them until all the couples were together.
Yeah.
And they commentary in, so we'll across that when we get to.
And then, so yeah, there wasn't that much, because then we get to the end when they get back to home, when they get back to Chicago too. So with Madison and Alan, you see back to Ikechi and MM.
We see them, they go out to eat,
right?
And it's talking about, okay, how do you like to be loved? And they got a lot of physical touch, hand holding, affirming her. So far that makes her feel good. They ask about, were you ever in love?
Yeah. He
says, he was in love with his ex-fiance. How does love look to you? And he said he's been loved before, but had the failed engagement. He wasn't sure if he wanted to love again, and that's something his friends had said earlier too.
But I think he's liking her, and I don't know how serious it is. I told you, when I see him, some of the things he says, like they're scripted. They don't come off natural, right? It doesn't come off genuine. They don't.
I know, but see, I told you what I think that is. Again, when you deal with somebody that is in the arts, that does a lot of performing, whether it's poetry, music, whatever, people have a hard time distinguishing between, is this acting or is this you? Because that's what you do professionally. So that's why I can't say it's not genuine. That might really be him, but when you're in a performance kind of base career, that's what people could think.
Got you. But he is very, I don't want to say sappy. Some people are that emotional. Some people are that smooth, right? Or that talkative, that type of way. So we'll see.
And the only other thing with them there, they talked about, okay, what kind of relationships you like to exemplify. She was like, I don't really have any to refer to. There's none that I feel like, I would like my relationship to be like this.
Because she was all about work. She was all about business, right? I don't think she had too many long-term relationships. She was about business. She was about building her I don't want to say empire, but building her practice, getting things done, going to school. And now she's looking for the person to sit down with, to settle with. That's why the kid question was like, I'm not 100% sure, because she's used to doing, because she mentioned that.
But not even that so much.
We'll see how our life is when we get back to Chicago. She mentioned like, okay, what is going to look like when we go back to Chicago, because we're in different realms. And that's one of her concerns too. That's one of her worries.
But I'm going to chalk that up too. Not just that. Again, remember, she's saying that that's not how her family was. They weren't lovey-dovey.
Right.
Her dad didn't say that much. So I think that's why she's saying, I don't know how to exemplify. Like, I want to do different. Maybe I want to do some romantic type of thing. And because I didn't see that. I didn't see the love shown or said openly. I saw it displayed in other ways, but not openly. Because he says he said he looks at his brother and sister-in-law and the love that they share, and I want that.
I want that.
But he says feelings are growing quickly. It's a little bit scary, but we'll see where it goes. The other thing with them, which I thought was funny, when they were getting ready for bed, it's their last night on the honeymoon.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, let's get settled in this bed so we can eat that honey pack. I was like, they're playing on words. Like she literally
had a honey pack,
like a honey straw.
Well, the people that we were watching it with, like, oh my goodness. He said, girl, she's like, yeah, come get some of this honey pack. He told her, she's like, come get some honey. But she wanted him to come get it. He's slow rolling it, and I think she's like, she's ready to go. He's like, nah, and he's cautious because he's like, my mama gonna watch this. You're my booty. I think he's really concerned about what people are gonna think about him.
I think he was I know he was joking. Yeah,
he was joking, but I think he's also really serious. What he had on wasn't really for bed clothes neither, though.
No, oh yeah, we laughed at that too. It's like he got a whole t-shirt and shorts outfit.
Yeah, that's not really looking for bed clothes. But again, I like how they play on words. It is a lot of sexual energy that's there, but they haven't gone there yet. And
she definitely big spoons him.
She big spoons him, She big spoons him.
He said, "You trying to take my goods?"
I don't know. You know how I feel about that comment. But anyway, but yeah, there's a lot of energy between them. There's also energy between Thomas and Camille too. But she says, she talks about it. She's like, I want to make sure it's genuine. I want to make sure it's serious before we break this thing out, because they have a moment. But then she comes out in her purple pajama shirt, oversized shirt, and and she said, I know I talked about the lingerie and all this, but I want to make sure it is a good moment for us to take it to the next level. And I thought that was sweet, and I thought it was kind because he understood. He doesn't want to rush it neither because he really feeling it. So when you talk about the sexual energy that's there, it is sexual energy with some of these couples, but they're taking it nice and slow. There's a lot of sexual energy with Juan and Carla, but no one has gone there yet, which is good because they moving in the right direction.
So like I said, this was their last day on the honeymoon. We see that everybody goes out to dinner and kind of shares a little bit of like where they are, how everything stands. David said the last 2 days have been progressive, much better than how it started.
Had to be better.
Michelle says it's slowly and surely getting better. Thomas and Camille talked about how he had a fear at first that they were too much alike, but as they're going through the days, he is seeing the differences that they have. And she sees the complementary part when it comes to their differences. And that is different than what she's doing differently than what she's used to. That's how they're carrying it. Yeah. Madison says, she's still trying to understand why they got matched, and he's himself, and that's not always what I'm used to. But I also don't want somebody to change themselves for me. So I'm not asking him to do that, And so she wants a chance to make it work in a more realistic way and figure everything out. Alan said he's glad that she hasn't judged him and been more accepting.
She kind of judged. She still talks about my man's clothes. And then we get to that later when they get back to Chicago. She explains, I'm hit it now. She explains, I don't want that who's flamboyant and who wear those type of clothes, kind of be a little bit modest, right? Not to I don't see, she didn't say outshine me, but bring all the attention to yourself. So she wants somebody who's kind of modest with what they do.
Well, no, I don't even think modest, but like less weird.
Less weird.
She don't
like the fruit and stuff on clothes and all the designs and all that stuff, and basically kind of grow up, dress like a grown up. In essence.
Juan says the hardest part is kind of like reprogram yourself and doing things differently when you have to include someone else, and not being up under pressure. He talks about the fact that they took the pictures, and how he was able to kind of talk her through it, and it got back into a better place, even though when they first went they weren't in a good place.
But that's the sign of a good husband, though, right? You're not gonna let your wife be angry, upset, stop your mood. You're gonna try to see how we can get you back into that mood so we can have fun, so we can enjoy the day. We shouldn't be mad at each other for 24 hours out of the day. We should get back into that mood. Let's fix it. Let's have a conversation about it. Let's try to solve it. If I'm wrong, I admit that I was wrong. If I was right, I admit that I'm right. Let's see what we can do. That's the type of stuff, and that's what's Juan maturity comes into level at.
Ikechi thanked for being vulnerable, and what she shared was that it's been great getting to know him. It's the first time she actually came in being vulnerable with not walls up to start with. And so that was different for her. Alan says, when they're doing stuff, that's when they feel the closest. She laughs and they how they have a good time together, and that's when they laugh about the heart thing, but it was like, oh, you touched my boobs.
You touched my boobs.
All of them talk about how they're getting used to each other. I like how Alan said, yeah, she's gonna now I think she's figured out I can do a lot of coughing in the morning.
Yeah, I need to clear my throat.
Yeah. Michelle says, she's a routine sort of person. So, it would be getting used to structure with each other. David asked, of the couples, what have you realized that you need more or less of in a marriage? And Juan says, I feel like that answers in Chicago. I'm business during the week. And what he asked for was a driven boss type of person. And Carla says, she wants to have more fun, but she knows when to bring it down.
Yeah.
And when to read the room and when they can have common ground. Michelle says she's giving herself some grace, opening herself up to knowing him more and acknowledging that she can be moody. Yes, ma'am.
We all know you can be moody, right? You got your ways and you stuck in your ways, and no one can bring you out of your ways except for her. She brings her own self out.
Yeah, because God knows I can see how, Carla had an attitude about what Juan said, but at this point, that don't compare at all to how Michelle been in her. Yeah, she been in
and none of the girls
real bad.
And because remember last episode, all the girls told her to come out and try to give her some advice, and none of that could bring her out. She had to bring herself out, and that's one thing about Michelle. Michelle has to admit, Michelle has to know, she has to feel it in order to feel him.
But the one thing David said, I could. You have been trying, at this point. The other thing is Michelle says, to answer the question, David knows, we talked about it. He knows what he needs to do more and less of. And so we'll just leave it at that between us two. That's what
how he can do less of moving out of his mama's house.
But it ain't even that part. It's the part.
Cursing.
No, it's the part that she was like, I'm not getting ready to share with y'all.
Yeah.
He knows.
But we also got to, that made me think about it, because she said he cursed too much. She's like, do you curse like that all the time? And he was like, yeah.
I can fix it.
I can fix it. So again, let's go through the problems. We got smoking. Mm-hmm. We have cursing. Mm-hmm. We have living with his mama. What's the other one?
Talking at me.
It's talking at me. It's
being pushy.
Yeah, he's not really a drinker because he's a social drinker. He's being pushy, right? So she has multiple problems with this dude. It is not, and she keeps saying it, it is not what I asked for. And we hear this every year. It's not what you asked for. It's not going to be what you asked for. Some things are going to be what you asked for, but not everything. Mm-hmm. And some people got vices. Yeah.
EKG and MM talk about waiting on a physical, and just spending more time, and the concern that reality, real life, going back to jobs and everything, may affect their closeness. Yeah. MM says it's going to be interesting living with a man because she never done that before. Somebody else, I think it was Camille.
That she never lived with him.
And was it Madison too?
I think so.
Yeah. And they say it's gonna be work. It's so much more than just saying I do. Let's see. So after that, they're preparing to leave. Before they leave, though, after they meet with the couples, Thomas and Camille go back to their room, and Thomas says, "Hold on, wait a minute. Just wait a second." And he goes in first.
This is what I like, my man, right? He didn't call production. He didn't call Married at First Sight. He said, hold on for a minute. I got this. I don't need y'all. But production staff, go over here. Crew, go over here. He gets the flowers. He puts the flowers in the rose petals on the walkway. My man creates a little heart. He puts a heart on the bed. He recreates the moment of the first time they're married, their wedding night. And I'm like, Thomas, high five. That's what I'm talking about. Be romantic and don't call for production like we see all these other people do. They tell production to do all this. Thomas said, I'll do my own thing.
And he did. And she appreciated it. Yeah. And that's when they had the thing with the t-shirt and everything, and how she brought the lingerie just in case, but I'm not in a space right now where I feel like I'm going to wear the lingerie.
Now, when they showed the lingerie, it looked banging. When they showed it, like, oh, okay. She going like, Thomas, she gonna hook you up, bro.
So again, they're preparing to leave. Everybody's packing up, going back to reality. Ikechi and MM, he's like, you got a dog, right? So they got to figure out how to take the dog out.
He never lived with a dog before.
Yeah. Michelle said, since we go back to the apartment, we'll have more space because obviously in the honeymoon suite, you know, y'all, it's close quarters.
Yeah.
So she's looking forward to that. Let's see. And that's when Michelle and David talk about their living situation. He was like, you know, I think it's gonna work out. You know, I'll probably be asleep because I work. He said, he doesn't work third shift. He works second shift. And so it's almost kind of like they're gonna be ships passing in the night, but you know, we can make it work. And I'll try not to disturb you. You know, if I have to, I'll sleep on the couch. And she was like, well, since you're talking about that for real, I don't think I want to sleep
in the same room.
And I don't feel comfortable sharing the bed or the bedroom. I was like, girl, it's a bed. We watched with my sister and my daughter, and it's like we've everybody in this room. You've been on sports trips. We've been on sports trips. We've been on band trips,
church trips,
choir trips, church trips. I feel like everybody. We've been on family trips. You talked about how we went to my family reunion. Me and my husband, we wasn't married yet. We were engaged, but we shared a room with my parents.
Yes, we did.
And my husband I slept in the bed with my mama.
And I slept
and the men slept in the bed.
I slept in bed with her daddy.
Back to back.
Back to back. We wouldn't spoon it. It's back to back. And I made sure I stayed back to back. Trust me.
With a lot of space in between.
A lot of space in between.
So for the way that she is chalking it up, just because we sleep in the bed with each other don't mean you got to kiss me. It don't mean you got to touch me or none of that stuff. Yes. And I just feel like, sis, you're doing too much.
And I grew up with a family where we made a pad on the floor. And we all slept on the floor. So I slept with a lot of people. I slept on the floor or places with a lot of people. So yeah, that didn't come off right.
And then pause. And then on after party, this is something LaTerrence Whitfield, who was on there as a special guest, said to her is that, and it sounds like something Pastor Cal would say too. When you decide that I'm not going to sleep in a room with you or not want to be in an apartment, you are not leaving space for growth. The experiment.
For experiment. You're taking
for y'all to grow and to get close. You're instead putting obstacles and wedges in between.
You're taking the variables out of it, right? The mouse doesn't have a chance to say, you know what, I don't want that cheese. I don't like cheddar. Give me Swiss, right? I'm not gonna eat. The experiment is the experiment. Let them ride the experiment all the way to a T. That's why we said all the time, I don't think people can have a choice to go home or not sleep with somebody or not be in the same bedroom or not. And I think Married at First Sight gave them out when they gave them two bedrooms in these apartments. So.
And so with that, I'm gonna stick with that real quick again. So then we also see when they get on the plane to the point where David and Michelle both want a window seat. So he's sitting in front of her. She's sitting on a whole different row.
I blame him for this, right? You do give up your seat. If you're trying to build a relationship with your wife and you want this thing to be better, give her the window. This gives you opportunity.
I feel like she just didn't want to sit beside him anymore.
I don't know how the conversation went. But I'm gonna say, as a man, if you tell me we get on a plane, hey, even when we was dating, we've traveled while we were just dating. You know, I want a plane seat. I want the window seat. Guess what you're gonna get? Go get the window seat. I'm gonna lay my head on your shoulder. We're gonna lay close, whatever case may be. It's a window seat. You on a plane for I don't know how long the flight is from Mexico to Chicago, maybe 6 hours, right? Or 4 hours, 3 or 4 hours. Again, give up the seat. You should be closer to her. That shows some more genuineness. That shows more. It may open a window for you, right? It may open a door for you. If she insisted on sitting on another seat, then so be it.
Yeah, I'm thinking that might be what happened.
And then now, mind you, this is Southwest Airlines because you can sit where you want to sit.
Right.
But they're changing that for those who fly Southwest.
Boo. So let me go back a little bit. So then also before they actually leave, we see Madison and Alan. He's packing his bags, but he's sitting like out on the balcony because he finds out that his friend that he was like celebrating with just a few days before the wedding, he passed away.
Yeah, don't go into detail with how he passed away and why, but his friend passed away, which is sad.
Yeah, and so
he took it better. Well, never mind.
Yeah, but he was having a moment, and she was there to support him. So despite whatever ick she might be getting from him, that she's not displaying the ick so much, but still she was supportive.
She was supportive.
And they talked about living together and how she's a creature of habit and routine, and let's see how we interact with each other. Again, she never lived with a guy. Like, is space going to be an issue? What about the toilet seat? Because you've left the toilet seat up since we've been here. So My husband felt like it was kind of insensitive how she went off into this topic after he's dealing with the passing of his friend. He's still grappling with those emotions.
Right. I'm dealing with losing my friend, and you talking about toilet seats. Right. I just lost my buddy I had drinking with 2 weeks ago, and you talking about toilet seats. Like, you can't wait till we get back home to address the toilet seat situation. Have some more compassion. Have some more love, some empathy. Bring the toilet seat thing up when we get to Chicago, not now. The last thing on my mind is about, oh, it's a freaking toilet seat that I leave up. Right? That, to me, I'd have been like, hold on for a minute. Toilet seats? Really? Come on. That's so insensitive in my mind. Y'all let me know what y'all think. In my mind, it's insensitive. You talking about toilet seats where I just lost somebody back home. I'm trying to get back home to his family, right? I'm trying to get back home to see to his mom or his girlfriend or whoever else he has in his family to try to give them a hug and console them. And we're talking about toilet seats. Man, come on. Let's go.
But we all see them go into their new apartment, back to David and Michelle. Okay, this is the bedroom. This probably be the primary bedroom. We're gonna have to figure out because I don't want to be in there with you.
That's so ill.
Thomas and Camille talk about, oh, what are we gonna do when one has to poop? We need a poop code word. Hey, I'm pooping, don't come in.
Do y'all poop in front of your spouses? I mean, even when we was dating, I had no problem pooping. In front of you. It's like, it is what it is. We're in the bathroom, and I'm using the toilet. It's to me, it's a natural thing. Like, everybody's poop smells. Maybe that's a guy thing. Everybody poop smells. I never seen anybody whose poop doesn't smell. And so we just poop. It's not a big deal. Maybe it's growing up for being a team, being an athlete, and we're in locker rooms all the time, and you got to poop in front of people, and I don't know.
I don't know, but I mean, I'm a nurse. I've literally had to change people's poop.
Yeah,
I've been bathing somebody and they poop while I'm bathing, and
you ain't talking about a baby neither.
And here's the advantage that my husband has is because I worked in a hospital and you don't like to offend nobody, even with funky poop. You were not to spray air freshener because that could be offensive. Oh, you saying I stink? You saying I stink? So we couldn't do that. So I've learned to ignore ignore the stench.
It is what it is. We got fans in the bathroom. We got some spray. Hey. Sometimes you got.
So that's my husband's advantage because I'm not gonna be. I've never been one. I mean, but I do know. But I ain't gonna be all overly like, oh my, you stink. I'm not gonna do that because I couldn't do that in the hospital room because God knows it was some hospital rooms I went in. I was like, it is funky.
It is what it is.
But anyway, pardon the tangent. The last thing, like I said, they all go to their apartments or whatever. We see Madison and Alan have a little conversation.
Mm-hmm.
She talks about how I want a partner that's more physically active, that takes care of themselves.
He does have a. When she said that, made me think about you because you said when they showed all the men with their shirts off when they went on the last episode. She's like, oh, Alan got a little pooch. He got a real man body, like a dad body. A dad body. He's not really like everybody else who kind of ripped up. Which is natural. Which is typical.
And when he said I do take care of myself. I don't go to the gym 4 or 5 days a week, but I do. Right. And when I feel like it and when I have time or whatever. And that's when she talks about his loud outfits is not really my style. I want whoever I'm with to look good in front of me, and I expect the same. And so anyway, they had this whole conversation. And fast forward, first night in the apartment, she gets dressed up to go out
to happy
hour cocktails with her friends, and then we see it say
3 hours
later he's still there by himself.
You know who remind me of? Alexis and Justin.
Mm-hmm.
Where Alexis will go out and Justin will be home by himself, and Alexis was living her best life, right? Having a great time. And I think we find in this situation sometimes where she should still be there for him because he just lost his best friend. And I wouldn't want him to be by himself. And I know you back home. She just treating it as if she just went on a trip with her friends.
Mm-hmm.
We got back, and now I'm gonna go hang out with some other friends who didn't go on a trip. Not that I got married, went on a honeymoon with my husband, and came back. She treating it as though I just went on a regular trip, so let me go hang out with everybody else. Which is wrong, by the way. Spend time with your spouse. Y'all can have the discussion later. It's so many things wrong with Madison and Alan. But we'll see later on. So y'all give me your thoughts on this review. Let us know what you thought. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification. Leave a comment in the comment section below. Hey, do you have a problem being in there when your husband or wife poops? Is there something wrong with, should you be consoling your spouse when they lose a friend, or should you be talking about toilet seats? And is it okay for a man who has a man bod to still get respect? All right, still get respect. Once again, leave a comment in the comment section below. Hit the subscribe button and bell notification, and we'll talk to you guys a little bit later.
Bye.
Bye.